Hello, we are live. Hello, guys. Welcome to the Unskippables. I'm Raghav.
I am Nikita, and that's right. This is the podcast we like to call the Unskippables, where we discuss ad campaigns and brand stories which are just too hard to skip.
Yep. This is episode 2, guys, and I'm so happy. Thank you so much for all the wonderful responses, wonderful messages that all of you all have poured in. It's overwhelming, and we wanted to do our second episode soon enough. I think last episode was really fun for both of us. It was about the cred ads, and today's episode, immediately after we did that episode, we had magic pin with a powerful, impactful rebuttal to the cred campaign. And we thought, we must talk about ambush marketing, right? Because many brands are using this strategy to kind of gain traction and gain brand salience. They're directly or indirectly attacking their competitor or any other brand that's relevant. We should start talking about Magic Pin. So, Nikita, what do you think about Magic Pin and their move? Uh,
Yeah, I think it's a very exciting move what they have done. Like it has given, first of all, I think both the brands have done such a great justice to their viewers because firstly, people in the first week, people were watching creds and having so much fun around it, and there was so much conversation. And in the second week, I know of no one who has not shared this magic pin ad
right,
after the controversial ad of cred and so many conversations, so many point of views that people had on social media. This was sort of like a path breaking thing where
right.
it just led people into splits that we don't need your opinion anymore. Here is what we have already done. And I think it just
Correct.
stopped all the conversation that was going around cred, and everyone was now talking about this beautiful campaign.
They pegged their insight really well also, on the fact that nobody knew what to do with their cred points, right? that
Exactly.
was
I think
the
the
that was the
exact
whole
conversation,
idea.
yeah, that we were also having, that no one was understanding, first of all, what they were saying. And
Correct.
second was, what is such a great thing about getting cred points? Like people were actually not understanding the ad and they have latched onto it very, very well. They've used it very well. And I would say creatively, they have used it very well. Like
Right.
we see a lot of examples where people are beating down the competitor brands and they are not using it in a very fun and healthy way, and they use the marketing strategy, not so much the creative strategy, to bring a brand down or do ambush marketing around it. But
Correct.
what cred has done is beautifully use the copy to create cred to bread, and then also visually they have shown bread pieces. And
Right.
then of course artist used is really, it's a really interesting choice of artist being used over there. Also,
Yeah.
I would say that reminds me of milk bikkies also, the
Yeah.
other campaign that recently came out using an ambush strategy with Parle G. And
Right.
again, very good choice of artist. Pankaj Tripathi has been used over there. And it's great to see what they've also done. They've also used the copy so intelligently. For those who don't know, I would just like to reiterate how it goes. He asks, why are you using this biscuit, G? Why आप ये अपने बच्चे को ये वाला बिस्किट क्यों खिला रहे हो जी? तो वो बोलती हैं हाँ जी, and then he says ना जी. So how creatively they have been able to bring up G so many times. And I remember
साधारण
in a
बिस्किट को कहिए जी नहीं,
जी
और
नहीं,
ब्रिटानिया को कहिए जी हाँ.
Ji
So
haan.
it's
Like how G has played such a great role. In fact, one of the things that struck with me was that I kept saying Parle Ji ka ad when I was referring to this ad. Like I was
correct,
trying to
correct.
show it to my friends ki ye wala ad dekha. And then it struck me that okay, I don't remember this biscuit's name, but I'm left with Parle Ji's name definitely.
Absolutely. And this is one of the biggest problems that, brands can encounter, while trying strategies like this of cleverly using, their competitor's name in other places. And
Yeah.
definitely, I think the there are different outcomes, and we'll come to that towards the end of the episode as to discuss what brand outcomes actually happen. But another interesting example of ambush strategies that a brand has used is Sebamed, right? Uh,
How
it's
can we
it's
not
very
talk about it?
unlike, absolutely, it's very unlike the other two examples, which is Magic Pin and Milk Bikis, where they're alluding to the brand in a very conversational
Creative.
manner, in a creative way. But Sebamed said no, let's attack them where they have built their entire equity, right? They said that Dove has built their entire equity around pH levels. They've done the litmus test too many times for them to for
Yeah,
people to associate it with any other brand in the category. And they said, we take that trope on, we'll identify that as the main thing, and we'll put out a campaign that calls them out, puts their name on the bar, right? Doesn't even do enough to hide it. And I think there's a
yeah,
very interesting learnings here, right? From the Sebamed ad itself, right? The court case, of course, they won the court case at the end of the whole campaign. But what they did was take on the leader brand or the leader brands at a category level and say that you have defaulted in your own claim, right? Whereas my soap is the best because
yeah.
it promises you better pH level. So yeah, what do you think about it? I mean,
Yeah, I think a lot of people were saying that a lot of experts had this point of view that Sebamed has given Dove its own taste, its own
a
harsh
taste of it.
taste, and
Yeah,
yeah, their own medicine. And I think, yeah, very well said, because Dove has in past a very old campaign of Dove had actually done that. They used several soaps with their names to show what their
absolutely.
pH
I
is
think this
like
was a
and
global
showing the
campaign,
Canadian.
right?
Yeah,
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 Canadian campaign
the
which went
Canadian
global, I
campaign.
guess. Yes.
Yes.
Hmm.
And I think it's fair enough if they are just using science, because that is where, if Dove had been something which uses a tongue in cheek creative to come out and just talk about that how great we are, they would have easily missed the mark, and they would have easily, even returned a good reply to Sebamed. But why it hit so hard was because this was a scientifically, they were using science to make this
Scientific
claim.
claim. Perfect.
and
Yes.
and Dove has always been that this caring and this ek chauthai moisturizer, and we are the best kind of a brand. We are better than your soap. We are not even a
So
soap. In fact, at some point they started calling them.
we are a beauty
So
bar. So, but Dove
yeah,
believes that they're a beauty bar, not a soap.
yeah, they are
So,
not a
yeah, I
soap,
mean,
which
you're
is a
so right.
huge claim. Scientifically, it is a huge claim, and I think they have just bashed them. Sebamed has just bashed them down really hard.
Yeah,
But it's also, I think, that is a very good example of a direct ambush marketing, as opposed to the other two examples which we discussed.
correct.
But at the
Correct.
same time, I think it's a so whoever does not know about this campaign, I would just like to reiterate it once.
Hmm.
It's the 3 series ad which Sebamed has launched, where they have shown these HUL products one by one, and they have shown it absolutely clear. Like, they have shown the exact beauty par with the exact logo, exactly naming them out and taking a pH test on them and saying that this their pH level is equivalent to that of Rin. They have also shown Rin in the same ad,
Which
and then they are
later was
which
repealed. I
was
mean,
later.
which later, yeah, they had to remove.
And they said that Sebamed claims that they have a 5.5 pH, which is apparently good for sensitive skin. And HUL sued them for this, for doing this to them, and they were taken to court. But somehow court gave them the permission to keep running these ads. Also mentioning that two wrongs. This was mentioned by the honorable court, that two wrongs don't make a right. So if Dove has done this similar thing, Seba doesn't mean that Sebamed can do the similar thing. It was a
Yeah.
statement, but ultimately they are allowed to do it by making a few tweaks, and they were supposed to remove the Rin
Loopholes
straw.
is the operating word here.
Yeah, I'm saying these loopholes are the reason why ambush strategies work so well in our
Yeah.
country.
Not only in our country, in the entire world. I mean,
Of
there
course,
are
yeah.
so many examples of ambush strategies, ambush marketing strategies that brands have used. Interestingly, it's not a new concept, but I think
Yeah.
what makes one angle very interesting or relevant in today's time is the amount of content that we're getting exposed to on a daily and regular basis, right? So now brands are thinking that, this is a strategy that I could use, right? But
Yeah.
there's one very important point there, that ambush marketing, or that tone of attacking, or trying to hijack a context of another brand, is not for every brand, right? And it's very
True.
important for us to understand that uh, every brand cannot use it, right?
True.
Every kind of brand, every type of brand will not be able to use it effectively, and therefore the personality of your brand, the persona of your brand, the kind of values your brands holds true, should all be factored in before you say that, okay, fine, चलो, दिस इज द कॉम्पिटिटर, ऐसा उसको पंस के साथ अटैक
Yeah.
करते हैं सोशल मीडिया पे एंड कैंपेन के साथ, ऐसा नहीं होने वाला है. So you'll have to be very, very choosy, and especially people who are custodians of the brand, people in agencies, people in the brand side, need to be cognizant of this very fact that सब लोग के लिए नहीं है ambush
Hmm.
strategy. Some brands,
Also,
I
I
mean,
feel,
yeah.
yeah. Also, I feel there is an observation that mostly it's the runner-up brands who does it to bring down the leader in
Mm,
the market.
mm, mm.
And one of the things is that if you are a leader, if you are a market leader and you're catering to a lot of segments in India, which is the middle class, which is the Sec B, which is the highest consumer, I think they will never go. Mostly, we don't see those brands going bold out there and doing these kinds of ambush marketing strategies, because somewhere there's a lot of risk involved. Secondly, I think they don't want to waste time talking about other brands or give any kind of eyeballs
Why
to
would
other
you?
brands.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why would you? Mm,
Also, it can also be confusing with the kind of consumer base that we are talking about. It can be very confusing for them to get into this whole bantering, and it might just take away eyeballs from your own brand. So, which is
absolutely.
why brands catering to Sec A are, I think, more likely to get into these kinds of conversations, because there is a likability then that you garner. There is a set of people who will be interested in seeing these kinds of bantering. They will also engage in the conversation which is
I
happening.
don't know if it's a SECA, SECB conversation. It's about what you said earlier, which is, the brands with more market share, right? For example, if I'm the market leader,
Hmm.
right? Like if I'm a McDonald's versus a Burger King, I'm not, if I'm McDonald's, I'm
True,
catering to the entire family, right? I'm a
true, true,
family place, right?
true.
So that's been my aura. Ronald McDonald, the Happy Meal, the happy
Yeah,
stuff, right? I'm never going to, although I might, poke at them sometimes on social media or something like that, but I'll never do a campaign like, Burger King attacks McDonald's,
hmm,
right?
hmm.
It keeps, keeps on attacking McDonald's through and
True.
through, but
Beautifully.
yeah, and beautifully. I love Burger King's attempts,
But I
and
somewhere feel one of the reasons for what I just said was also because people, someone like who is a family consumer,
mhm,
who are consuming, who do not care about the nitty gritties of what's in the brand, but are just familiar with it, and that familiarity makes them reach out for it. I
mm,
think they won't understand this whole ambush strategy, and it might then fall flat because they are just going after it not because they found the ad too creative, but it's just the familiarity with the ad, and because it's too easily available to them,
yeah.
or they have just established a relationship with the brand. So now
Mhm.
all of a sudden, if they start talking about some other brand, it will be hard for them to understand what is happening, and why are they doing it,
Yeah,
and what should be
yeah.
the takeaway from it.
Which
So,
brings us to the outcomes, right? Because it's very important, when you choose to do something like this, you
yeah,
need to understand where's the goalpost, what's going to happen after this, right?
right.
I think there are three big outcomes in today's day and age. There are three big outcomes, right? The first outcome being, that both brands engage, and they banter among themselves, and there are many
Yeah,
examples of that. Then the
yeah,
second outcome is when the victim gains. The first outcome, the third outcome could be that, you know the actual person doing it gains, right?
mhm.
Let's talk about each one of these. So the
Yeah.
first
So I
one,
think
where, yeah,
the banter one which you're talking about, I think that's the most interesting one for the consumer, and it's a most interesting one for both the brands because it's a win-win situation for both of them. One of the classic examples that I could remember is the campaign done by Mac, PC
right,
versus Mac. I think a lot
right.
of us are familiar with it. I think it came out in 2003, where Microsoft was a leader, and a lot of people were using Microsoft. And Apple was not very in the market and did not have a lot of customer base.
It
But
had a
it just started
loyal customer base, but it didn't
a
have a
loyal
lot.
customer, but not a lot.
Yeah.
And then that is where this whole banter started between, of course, Apple started it, but then Microsoft gave a very nice tongue-in-cheek response to it.
Correct,
And
correct,
it became a series of ads, so many of them, and all of them were so interesting to watch. And the
right.
best part is that both gained out of it. Like the
True,
Microsoft customers were also loyal to them, and they did not want
true.
to fall prey of Apple's strategy, and the Apple customers were also loyal to them. They did not get hampered by what
And
Microsoft replied.
another interesting example in this banter thing, right, is, if you remember BMW and Audi, right? They also engaged in another campaign like this, where the billboards, the checkmate billboards, right? I
Yeah,
don't know if you've come across that.
yeah,
Yeah. So if you've not, guys, you should go and check out BMW versus Audi, and you should go and check out Mac versus PC. They're
I think
great campaigns.
I think
Will
also one which we will be very familiar with, the 90 kids. It's the Pepsi and Coke and the Sprite and Pepsi ad,
obviously, obviously,
which has
right.
made rounds, and they were creatively also very efficient.
You're
So
right.
at those days there was no social media, so the only way you can figure out the effectiveness of a campaign was when you don't want to turn off the TV while the ad has come. And it also starred a lot of celebrities in those ads, Pepsi and Sprite,
Correct.
both of them, which
Correct.
makes it so interesting. Like we were always looking forward to, okay, which would be the next one, which would be the next one. And
Correct.
even with the milk bikkies and Parle G, I think now people are waiting Parle G to respond, and we are
I hope Parleji
excited.
responds. I hope
Yes, we are
Parleji
excited to
responds.
see how they respond.
Let's see.
I also want to see how Creds responds to Magic Pen.
I predict that
That
they
would be
will
interesting.
not. I predict that
Why do you think
Creds
so?
will not respond to them. I don't think, they're going to engage in that conversation. They have other ads which are launching, and literally ignored it so far. If they had to respond, they would have responded very quickly. I think Kunal Shah tweeted about it or something like that. I don't remember the tweet exactly, but I don't think Red is going to respond with another ad. But now that we're talking about banter, right, as the first big outcome, I think what banter really does in today's day and age is really grow the category, right? Uh, so with that, I believe that at least conversations around the category are, any category that brands engage in banter with themselves, or their competitors, right? I think that is one outcome that happens, that they end up growing the category, right? The second outcome, let's talk about when
Yeah.
the victim gains, right?
Hmm.
I think let's talk about milk bikkies versus Parle G, right? uh,
Yeah.
um,
I
uh,
think, yeah, one of the things that happened to me was that I constantly, like I said, I was constantly using Parle G when I was talking about this ad. And that is where it hit me that, okay, so the ad has not been able to do what it intended to do, but something else it has done, which is give
Correct.
a lot of weightage to their competitor.
Misattribution. Yeah.
which happens also, which I think also is happening with Magic Pin somewhere, and which could be one of the reasons why Cred doesn't want to respond to it, because no one remembers Magic Pin's name. They just
Mhm.
remember that
Right.
ad which tried to pull
Which had
them down.
correct,
Yeah, which
correct.
ad we don't know the brand too well.
Whether
So
they're
I
going to
think, yeah,
gain
that is a risky
relevant,
game.
disproportionate traction and gains for their brand is still a question mark. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, that does happen. See, I tell you the psychology behind that is very clear, right? You're the market
Hmm.
leader. If I am going to be Britannia Milk Cookies and going to say G in every sentence, right, of my ad, somewhere I'm uh, I I mean, creatively it's very clever, it's
Yeah.
very nice, right? But for a viewer of
Strategy
an
wise,
ad,
it's
yeah, the residual effect of it, right? Think about it.
hmm.
I'm saying G so many times in the 5 second skip ad generation. If I have G nahi, G ha, I'm gonna
True.
get I'm gonna get G out of it, right? And the attribution is going to happen to the market leader because that's the most salient brand that I recall, correct? So that's the second outcome. The third outcome is when the brand itself gains, right?
I think there is
And
one more thing to add to the second outcome. It's the
yeah, sure.
famous Olympics and the World Cup campaign that happened. That
Hmm.
actually
Hmm.
made a huge impact on the brand that was doing it.
Yeah, so
I
could
think,
you
yeah,
talk
this
about
would
it?
be
Yeah,
yeah. So that would be, I think, the third outcome. I think that would come under the third outcome itself,
sure.
where you are doing ambush strategy, you are applying ambush strategy, and it works in your favor.
Right.
So you're actually getting benefited out of it,
Correct.
which is where the Olympics was, I think, the first event where a brand used it, and they were actually able to sidebar the actual sponsors, and they were able to make so much space in the event that people started associating them as sponsors.
Right. Right.
And I think the same thing happened with two leading, with Coke and Pepsi, basically.
Correct.
One of them
Correct.
was the official sponsor, and they had put up this billboard saying that we are the official sponsor. The other one, just next to it, put a billboard saying that we are nothing official about it. And
See,
there was like,
this
yeah,
I
sorry.
mean, this whole topic is such a debatable one, right? And I think
Hmm.
that's why we picked it also intuitively when I kind of eureka moment happened to me, and I said, let's do ambush marketing because of this
Yeah.
magic pin, and you were also like, yes, because it's such a it's a topic where people's opinions actually matter, right? It is not only what you and me thought, it's so many people.
Yeah.
So I really want to, I'm looking forward for comments on, other brands who have done strategies like this.
Yeah.
Please guys, leave us comments below. We would like to know if you know any other campaigns that you would like to share about marketing, ambush marketing strategies in the comments below. And I really want to ask you, uh, I mean, if you were to pick two of your two brands to compete against each other, to do ambush marketing
Yeah.
banter against each other in today's digital
Brands, battle of brands.
war of brands world, what would
War
it
of
be?
brands. Yeah. I think hands down it will be Apple and Samsung, or
Okay.
Apple and OnePlus, because I think both their owners are fighting most of the time. Not owners,
Yeah.
but the consumer who is using their product is fighting so much amongst each other. No, mine is better. No, mine is better. So I would
Correct.
want to
Correct.
see how the two brands are going to communicate with each
That's an
other. And
interesting point you have there. Like, I mean, it's like communities of people who are followers of
yes,
your brands,
there is
right? Yeah.
definitely a
Yeah.
community. I feel like Apple has a community which swears by the product, and they won't ever want to go to any other. They're not easy. They don't find it easy to switch
Correct.
to any other product, and so is with other people, with other kinds of users. So
Right.
I think it will be interesting to watch how they are engaging in this conversation.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
also, I would like to add to the third category, where how can we ignore what the outcome of Sebamed and what it did to Dove? Because I think, like we said, that Dove actually faced a lot of backlashing despite giving such a
Correct.
beautiful response, through their print ad where it said that we are dermatologically recommended and tested.
Yeah.
It yet I think Sebamed was just able to do what it wanted to do,
Hmm.
and which is just a classic example of an ambush marketing and how it benefits. So
Correct.
even if I think their exact competitor is someone who is buying more costlier products, and while their competitor whom they are targeting is someone who's still catering to the middle class Indian.
Right.
So like the court also said that like they also said in the court that we have a very different TG, and I don't think that Dove's TG is our TG. They have a very different TG, so nothing is gonna get hampered as such. But even if like 1% or 0.5% people
It's a
are
big
able
deal.
to are able to just start the conversation and they want to know, let me use this,
Yeah. Let
if
me
they,
try. Let me try.
yeah, yeah, which is quite possible. People are open to conversation. They are,
100%.
yeah, they have done the job. I mean, if they are able to even garner that little bit of market base, I think they have done the job. And the reason why they have chosen someone who is not in their TG is again because they are the market. They are the highest market. They have the highest market share, and they are
Right.
the market
Right.
leader. So I think
Right.
that is job done very effectively. There's one more point which I think that has changed the world of ambush marketing is the coming in of social media and the search engine. Because
Okay.
after this Sebamed ad came in, while I saw I myself I went and searched on Google, what is the pH of this soap, what is the pH of that soap. It with so many mediums that we have on social media, it is so easy to start conversation on any topic. So
Yeah.
now influencers will start conversation around pH is the new thing, the new category that has come up. So now
Correct.
there will be so much conversation on the search engines, and every search engine is showing me the statistic given by Sebamed because there is no other brand that has talked about it so far.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
I have so much information coming straight away from the brand.
Right.
So I
Right.
think internet also plays a huge role over here. It benefits
Absolutely.
brands more than it ever did. Just like a magic
Well,
pin,
it
it benefits.
benefits brand that actually do the full whole hog, the complete 360
Yeah,
of their
yeah. So
campaign.
even
And
if they fail to do it, in coming times, people will start this conversation because pH is such a scientific thing, and any scientific thing becomes a trend eventually.
definitely,
So
definitely.
yeah, even if Sebamed doesn't push it through their channels, I think eventually it will become a conversation on social media that whether I should take this or not. People will start searching for their brands depending on the pH of the products. So I think that is also an
Absolutely.
interesting thing to look into.
Yeah, but I mean, wonderful show. I think we've had like a great conversation. I really look forward to what people are gonna say about this in our comments. And this is me, Raghav,
Thank
signing
you.
off.
This is Nikita. Don't forget to like us, subscribe to us, follow us on our channels, and share our video if you like it.
Yeah.
Thank you.